The girl in the ice prison. The sky above the alien moon was dark and full of stars. Snow fell softly on the metal roofs of the old science station. The place had been silent for many years. No one lived there now. The war had moved far away. Only cold winds and forgotten machines remained. But inside, something was waking up. A team of human soldiers landed on the moon. Their leader, Captain Marcus, had one goal: search the station for any alien weapons. The humans were losing the war. They needed anything that could help them win. Reed Walker, a quiet and serious soldier, walked behind the others. He didn't speak much, but his eyes were sharp, always watching. He felt something strange about this mission. Something cold, deeper than the snow. Inside the station, the air was thick with ice and dust. Lights blinked slowly, still working after all these years. The soldiers moved carefully, scanning every room. Then they found it. At the center of the station was a large chamber. In the middle stood a tall glass coffin, glowing with a soft blue light. Inside the coffin was a girl. She looked about 17. Her hair was silver, floating like silk in water. Her skin was pale, almost glowing. Her eyes were closed. She looked peaceful, like she was just sleeping. A soldier stepped forward. "What is this?" "Some alien trap." Before anyone could answer, the soldier touched the glass. He screamed. His body flew backward, hitting the wall. His face turned white. His heart had stopped. He was dead in seconds. The team froze in shock. "She's dangerous," Marcus said. "No one touches her, not even the glass." They set up machines to scan the coffin. But nothing made sense. The girl had no name, no ID, and no human or alien record. The glass couldn't be broken, not even with lasers. "She's not just frozen," the scientist whispered. "She's alive. She's in stasis." "But how?" Reed asked. "Why hasn't she aged?" No one knew. That night, Reed couldn't sleep. Something pulled him back to the chamber. He stood alone, watching the strange girl inside the ice. And then, her eyes opened. Reed jumped back, shocked. Her eyes were bright silver. She looked straight at him and whispered, "Reed." His blood turned cold. How did she know his name? He looked around. No one else was there. Just the girl in the ice, staring at him, her lips still moving. "Reed, help me." He stepped closer. Her eyes followed him. He felt no fear, only a deep sadness coming from her, like she had been alone for a very long time. Suddenly, alarms rang across the base. Soldiers rushed in. "What happened?" Marcus shouted. Reed pointed at the coffin. "She spoke. She said my name." Everyone stared at him. Some looked scared. Others didn't believe. "She can't talk," one said. "That thing is sealed." Reed shook his head. "She's not a thing. She's human. I saw her lips move." Marcus looked at the girl. "Then why did she kill the last man who touched her?" No one had an answer. Later, scientists played back the video footage. In the camera recording, they saw the girl's lips move. They couldn't hear the voice, but they could read her lips. She said one word, one name: Reed. The room went silent. Marcus looked at Reed. "What are you not telling us?" "Nothing," Reed replied. "I've never seen her before." But deep inside, Reed felt something strange, like a memory just out of reach, a dream he had forgotten, a voice he had always known. That night, he went back to her again. This time, she smiled and whispered one more thing: "They're coming." Reed's eyes widened. "Who's coming?" But she closed her eyes again. The glass glowed brighter, as if warning him to stay away. Far above the moon, deep in space, something was moving. A ship. No, many ships. Dark, silent, and deadly, heading straight for the station. Reed didn't know it yet, but everything was about to change. He was not just a soldier. He was the only one who could save her. She knows my name. The silence of space is louder than war. Far above the frozen moon, unknown ships slid through the dark. Their design was nothing like human tech, smooth, bone-white, with long curved wings like blades. No lights, no sound, just pure death gliding across the stars. Inside the base, Reed couldn't sleep. Not after what he saw. That girl, trapped in ice, had whispered his name. But he had never seen her before, never met her, never heard of her. Still, her voice echoed in his head, soft and sad. Reed, help me. Reed stood in front of the glass coffin again. The others had returned to their rooms. The scientists were trying to figure out who or what the girl was, but Reed couldn't stay away. The girl's name was still unknown. The coffin still wouldn't open, and anyone who tried to touch her still died. Except him. She didn't kill him. She called him. That night, Reed brought a chair and sat near the glass. He stared at her face, at the way her silver hair floated like smoke. There was something gentle about her, even though she was deadly. Suddenly, her eyes opened again. Reed leaned forward. "Can you hear me?" She blinked slowly. Then she mouthed the words, "You're late." Reed's heart skipped. Late for what? She closed her eyes again, as if the answer hurt too much. In the morning, scientists gathered around Reed. One scientist, Dr. Arlen, was old and grumpy. He didn't like Reed getting special attention. "This is impossible," Arlen said. "She speaks only to you. She looks at only you, and you didn't die when you got close." "Why?" "I don't know," Reed replied. "You must know," Arlen snapped. "Maybe you're part of some hidden project. Maybe your DNA matches hers." Reed frowned. "She's not a weapon." "Everyone else died," Arlen said. "If that's not a weapon, what is it?" But Reed remembered her eyes, sad, soft, tired. "She's afraid," Reed said quietly. "Not dangerous. Afraid." Arlen scoffed. "Afraid of what?" Later that day, Reed was taken for a scan. The medical officers ran tests on his blood, brain, and DNA. Hours passed. When the results came back, they were shocked. Reed had traces of something not human in his blood. Something old. Something alien. "You've never been exposed to alien tech," the doctor said. "And yet, this gene, it matches hers." Reed was stunned. "What does that mean?" The doctor looked nervous. "It means maybe you're the only one who can save her, or maybe you're the reason she was made." Reed's world spun. That night, the girl opened her eyes again. This time, Reed didn't sit. He stood before the coffin and placed his hand on the glass. Everyone else who touched it died instantly. But Reed's hand stayed. No pain, no shock, just warmth. The glass lit up beneath his palm. The girl reached out from inside. Her hand met his, only separated by the thin glowing wall. And then, slowly, the glass began to melt. Steam hissed. Lights flashed red. Alarms screamed across the base. "Security breach," a voice shouted. "The ice prison is opening." Soldiers ran to the chamber. Scientists screamed. But the girl did not move from her spot. The glass vanished with a soft sound, like breath on cold air. She stepped out, barefoot, calm, glowing, alive. Everyone aimed weapons at her. "Stay back," Marcus shouted. But Reed held up a hand. "Wait, she's not attacking." She walked straight to Reed. The soldiers tensed. The girl looked into his eyes. Then she whispered, out loud for the first time, "I remember you." The room froze. Marcus stepped forward. "What does that mean?" Reed didn't know what to say. He felt it too, a strange connection. A memory that didn't belong to him. She looked at Marcus and said, "His name is Reed Walker, but that's not who he was before." The scientists stared. "You knew him before?" Arlen asked. The girl nodded. A long time ago. In the place before this one. No record exists of you, Arlen said. No past. No ID. How is that possible? I was made to forget, she said softly. But I couldn't forget him. Reed felt dizzy. Where are you from? She looked up at the ceiling, past it, to the stars. They called it the Echo Core, a secret project, hidden by your own kind. I was created to end the war, but I was too dangerous, so they locked me away. She stepped closer to Reed. You were the last face I saw before they froze me. You tried to protect me, but they erased you too. The room went silent. Suddenly, the lights turned red again. But this time, it wasn't from the girl. It was from the sky. Ships had arrived. The base shook with impact. Explosions rocked the walls. Soldiers ran to their posts. They're here, someone shouted. Reed and the girl rushed to the control room. On the screen, they saw the ships, white, winged, and silent, surrounding the moon. The girl touched the screen. They are the ones who made me, she said. They are here to take me back. Why? Reed asked. Because I failed. Because I loved you. Reed stared at her, shocked. She smiled sadly. And love was not part of the plan. The screen blinked. A message came in, cold and simple. Return the asset, or your world will burn. Reed turned to the girl. What are you? She looked at him one last time and whispered, your last hope. The touch that didn't kill. Outside the base, the sky was filled with light. But it was not the light of hope. It was the burning fire of warships, silent, silver, and alive with power. The ships had no windows, no engines that humans could understand. They hovered like ghosts, waiting for a single order: destroy everything. Inside the base, fear spread like smoke. Soldiers locked down doors. Scientists hid behind blast-proof glass. Captain Marcus screamed orders. And in the center of it all, Reed Walker stood beside the girl no one could explain. The girl who once killed everyone she touched. Except him. Now she stood beside him, calm, quiet, watching the alien ships. Her name was still unknown. But she had just said something no one could forget. Because I loved you. Captain Marcus pointed his gun at her. Step away from him. Reed stood between them. She hasn't hurt anyone since she woke up. Marcus growled. We saw the footage. Everyone else she touched, dead in seconds. But I touched her, Reed said. And I'm alive. She didn't kill me. She remembered me. She's manipulating you, Marcus said. She's a weapon, not a person. The girl looked at Marcus. Her voice was soft, but steady. I didn't choose this body. I didn't choose this power. But I will choose what I do with it now. Marcus hesitated. Behind him, Dr. Arlen whispered, let her speak. The girl placed her hand on the wall screen. Images filled the room. Not just images, memories. Everyone saw it. A secret lab. Human scientists. Alien engineers. The girl was strapped to a metal table, crying. Her body was young, but her eyes were old, full of pain. In the memory, Reed was there too. But he looked different. Younger. His hair was longer. His eyes were kind. He was the only one who didn't wear a lab coat. He was the only one who tried to stop them. He failed. They froze her and wiped Reed's memory. The memory faded. Silence returned. Reed dropped to his knees. It's true. The girl turned to him. You were a soldier back then too. But your heart was different. You didn't see me as a weapon. You called me human, even when others didn't. Reed's voice was low. I still do. Behind them, alarms screamed again. Incoming transmisión. A message flashed across the screen. A strange alien symbol translated into one sentence. Return the hybrid, or Earth will fall. Captain Marcus stared at the screen. What do they mean, hybrid? The girl stepped forward. They used both human and alien DNA to make me. I was made to fight for both sides, but I didn't belong to either. Then what are you? Marcus asked. She turned to him, her silver eyes glowing faintly. I'm what happens when you mix war with hope. Suddenly, the power in the base shut down. Lights blinked out. Doors locked. The only thing still glowing was her. Outside, one of the alien ships began to descend. Soldiers aimed their weapons. No use, the girl whispered. They're not here to talk. Reed grabbed her hand. And for the first time, she touched someone without killing them. There was no pain, no burning, just warmth. Everyone gasped. Even the girl seemed surprised. You shouldn't be able to do that, she whispered. Reed held on tighter. I don't care about what should or shouldn't happen. She looked down at their hands. I was designed to protect peace by destroying threats. But love wasn't in my design. Reed smiled sadly. Maybe love is your upgrade. A sudden explosion shook the walls. The alien ship had fired a warning shot, melting part of the mountain nearby. Captain Marcus ran to the controls. We have 10 minutes before they attack for real. If we give her to them, maybe they'll leave. No. Reed stepped in. You saw what they did to her before. You think they'll stop now? Marcus shouted. And what's your plan? Fight them with feelings. The girl looked at Reed. I can stop them, she said. But if I do, I may not survive. Reed shook his head. No, there has to be another way. There isn't, she said gently. They made me to be the perfect weapon. If I release my full power, I can shut down their systems, but it will burn through my body. Reed stepped back, torn between duty and emotion. You just got your life back, he said. You haven't even lived yet. You haven't laughed. You haven't seen the sun. You haven't loved. She smiled. I did love. Once. Long ago. I just didn't know the word for it. Reed's voice cracked. Then live. Please. But the girl stepped toward the exit. If I don't stop them, billions will die. Reed followed her. I'm going with you. You'll die, she warned. Then I'll die trying to protect you, he said. The alien ship landed outside. Its door opened. 3 tall beings stepped out. White armor, faceless helmets, cold movements. One raised a device. Return her now, a deep voice said through a speaker, or we erase this colony. Reed stood tall. She's not yours anymore. The alien tilted its head. You forget. She was never yours to begin with. Then the girl stepped forward. But this time, her whole body began to glow. Silver lines crawled up her arms. Her eyes lit like stars. The snow around her melted. The machines near her sparked and died. She floated 1 inch above the ground. She was no longer hiding what she was. And then she said one word. No. The aliens raised their weapons. She raised her hand. And the battlefield turned to light. The ones who made her. The world turned white. Not from snow, but from the light coming from her body. Reed had never seen anything like it. The girl, who still had no name, stood with her arms raised. Her skin glowed like silver fire. Her eyes were white suns. Every machine near her stopped working. Lights went out. Guns melted in soldiers' hands. Even the alien weapons froze. Then, silence. The alien soldiers who had stepped out of the ship stood completely still. Their armor cracked. Their faces, if they had any, were hidden behind smooth white masks. The girl floated toward them, her feet inches above the ground. I remember you, she said softly. You are the ones who made me. The aliens didn't move. Then one of them spoke, not with sound, but with a voice inside everyone's mind. You are broken. The girl narrowed her eyes. No, I am complete, because I finally chose who I want to be. You were not built to choose. I know, she whispered, but I did. Suddenly, The alien raised its arm, and the ship's energy core began to glow. It was going to self-destruct the entire area. Reed ran forward. "Get back." The girl turned, raised her hand, and the ship's core stopped glowing. The aliens froze again. One of them tilted its head and spoke into Reed's mind. "You, human, you are the variable. The error." Reed stepped closer, unafraid. "Then I guess it's the errors that make us human." The aliens didn't respond. Instead, they slowly stepped back into their ship. In seconds, the vessel lifted into the sky and vanished in a flash of light. But they weren't gone. They were retreating to call something bigger. Back inside the base, everything was chaos. Soldiers argued. Scientists panicked. Captain Marcus demanded answers. What just happened? Why didn't they attack? Why did they leave? Dr. Arlen pointed at the girl. She stopped their weapons. She shut down their ship. They saw she's stronger than they remembered. But why him? Marcus pointed at Reed. Why is he the key to all of this? The girl stood beside Reed and finally spoke her truth. Because he's part of me. The room went silent. She stepped forward, speaking slowly so everyone could understand. Decades ago, Earth made a secret deal. A group of leaders, hidden from the public, worked with the aliens. They were scared Earth would lose the war. They allowed the aliens to run experiments on humans, on soldiers, on children. Reed clenched his fists. That can't be true. The girl touched his arm. You were one of them. Your DNA was copied, changed, mixed with alien strands, and used to create me. Dr. Arlen stepped back in shock. You mean she's your clone? No, the girl said. He's not my father. He's not my brother. He's my origin, my connection to humanity. Reed's voice was low. That's why I remember you in my dreams. She nodded. They wiped your memories. But not all memories are held in the mind. Some are kept in the soul. Reed turned to Marcus. They betrayed us. People on Earth gave her up to the enemy. Marcus was shaking. This is above my rank. We need to report this. No, Reed interrupted. If we report it, they'll try to take her again. Lock her up. Use her as a weapon. Dr. Arlen stepped forward. What do you suggest? Reed looked around. We help her finish what she started. Suddenly, the alarm blared again. But this time, it wasn't a ship. It was a message. From Earth. A general's voice echoed through the speakers. Cold. Clear. No emotion. Reed Walker. You are ordered to deliver the hybrid for immediate extraction. If you resist, you will be treated as a traitor. Everyone stared at Reed. The girl whispered, They're scared of me. Reed looked at the screen. Good. Maybe now they'll listen. An hour later, the team hid deep underground, in the forgotten tunnels beneath the old station. The girl, now called Elira, a name she whispered to Reed in private, sat quietly, her energy dim. She was tired, not just in body, in spirit. I wasn't made to live, she said, only to kill. Reed sat beside her. You're more than your design. I don't know how to be anything else. Reed smiled. Then let's learn together. She looked into his eyes. I feel something when I'm near you, something warm, something I don't understand. Reed whispered, That's what being human is. Suddenly, the ground shook. Far above them, a sound like thunder roared. The alien ships were back. But this time, they didn't come alone. A larger ship, 10 times the size of the others, descended from orbit. It wasn't built for war. It was built for harvest. Elira stood. Her body began to glow again. Reed grabbed her hand. Don't do this alone. She looked at him. If I use all my power again, I might not come back. I'll go with you, he said. And for the first time, she didn't tell him no. Together, they rose to the surface. The snowstorm had stopped. Only wind and light remained. The giant alien ship opened like a blooming flower. Inside was a throne made of silver vines, and sitting on it was the architect, the creature that made her. Tall, pale, eyes like frozen suns, no mouth, no face, only thought. Elira stepped forward. The architect spoke into every mind at once. "You were not built to feel," Elira replied, "and yet I do. You were not made to choose. I choose him." The architect paused. "Then you are no longer ours." Elira nodded. "I never was." A wave of energy burst from the architect's throne. Reed stood in front of Elira, shielding her, but she stepped past him. She raised both hands, and this time she didn't glow alone. Reed did too. Their energy mixed. Human and alien. Pain and love. Fear and courage. And then the light exploded across the battlefield. The alien ship cracked. The architect screamed, not with sound, but with terror. And then silence. When the light faded, the architect was gone. The ship fell from the sky like a dying star. Reed held Elira in his arms. Her glow was fading. "You did it," he whispered. She smiled weakly. "We did it." And then she closed her eyes. Born to love, built to kill. Snow fell quietly over the battlefield. The alien ship was broken, its metal body burning in the ice. Smoke rose into the gray sky. Nothing moved. Nothing lived. Except him. Reed Walker sat in the snow, holding her in his arms. Elira, the girl made from war and pain. The girl with power beyond understanding. The girl who remembered him from a life that wasn't his. She had saved the world again. And now her eyes were closed. Her skin was pale. Her body was cold. But she was breathing. Just barely. The others came running. Dr. Arlen, bruised and shaking, fell to his knees beside them. "She's alive," Reed said, voice rough. "But something's wrong." Arlen scanned her quickly. "Her energy. It's unstable. She used too much. She's burning from the inside out." Reed looked down at her face. "Help her." "I don't know how," Arlen said. "She's not fully human. Our medicine doesn't work on her." "Then figure it out," Reed said. "She saved all of us. We owe her everything." Back at the base, they placed Elira in the med chamber. Machines buzzed and clicked, but none of them could explain her condition. Her body glowed dimly, pulsing with a silver light under her skin. "She's like a battery," Arlen explained. "Her core is full of energy, but she wasn't meant to release that much at once. It's breaking her down." Reed stayed at her side, holding her hand. "Can she hear me?" he asked. "We don't know." So he spoke anyway. "I don't care what you were built for," Reed whispered. "You're not just a weapon. You're not just a project. You're Elira." He brushed a strand of silver hair from her forehead. "You were born to kill," they said, "but you chose to love. You chose to save lives. You chose me." He paused. "And now I'm choosing you." That night, Reed had a dream. He was back in the old lab, the one from Elira's memory. She was on the table, scared and alone. He tried to run to her, but guards pulled him back. The architect stood in the shadows, whispering, "You are just a variable, a spark, nothing more." Then in the dream, Elira turned her head and looked at him. "No," she said, "he is my anchor." And suddenly, the guards were gone. The table vanished. She was standing beside him. They were alone. And she smiled. Reed woke up with a jolt. The med-chamber lights were flashing. Alarms beeped. He rushed to Elira's side. "She's awake," Arlen shouted. Reed grabbed her hand. "Elira, can you hear me?" Her eyes opened slowly. They were dim now, no longer glowing. "I saw you," she whispered, "in the dream." Reed nodded, holding back tears. "You came back." She smiled faintly. "I had to. You were calling me. Over the next few days, Elira's strength returned, but slowly. She could walk now, but her energy was weaker than before. The more she used it, the more pain she felt. It's like her power is eating her from inside, Arlen said. She's reaching the limit of what her body can hold. Captain Marcus returned to the base with a message from Earth High Command. They'd want her moved to a research facility, he told Reed. Immediately. No, Reed said. They want to study her, Marcus added. Find out how she works. Maybe even copy her. Reed's eyes hardened. That's what they did before. That's why she ended up in that ice coffin. This is bigger than you, Marcus snapped. Bigger than her. Reed stood up slowly. Nothing is bigger than someone's right to choose their life. Later, Elira sat with Reed under the broken sky. The stars were shining and the cold wind brushed past them. They're going to try and take me, she said. I won't let them, Reed replied. She shook her head. I'm not afraid of them. I'm afraid of me. He looked at her, confused. I was built to fight, Reed. When I feel danger, my body reacts. My power wakes up, even when I don't want it to. Reed touched her hand gently. You're not your power. But it's a part of me, she said. And that part is killing me. She looked down at her hands. I want to be human. I want to feel the sun. I want to laugh and cry and live like everyone else. Reed's voice was soft. You already are human. Maybe even more than the people who built you. The next morning, Earth Command sent a new order. Elira must surrender herself, or the base will be shut down. Dr. Arlen was furious. They don't see her as a person, he said. Just a science project. Reed looked at Elira. What do you want to do? She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, I want to run. Reed blinked. What? I want to leave this base. Leave this war. Leave all of it. Reed stared into her eyes. And where will we go? She smiled gently. Anywhere they can't find us. That night, Reed and Elira escaped the base. They moved through the tunnels, past the wreckage of alien ships, through forests of ice and stone. They stole a small transport ship and launched into orbit, leaving behind the moon and its secrets. Earth Command was furious. But Reed didn't care. He had made his choice. For weeks, they traveled in silence through deep space, hiding from satellites and patrols. They stopped at small colonies, met kind strangers, and saw what peace looked like. Elira laughed for the first time when she saw children playing on a dusty planet. She tasted food she had never tried. She looked up at new stars and whispered their names. But every time she used her powers, to help, to heal, even just to light a fire, she grew weaker. One night, she collapsed. Reed caught her before she hit the floor. Don't leave me, he whispered. I'm not trying to, she said, smiling sadly. Dr. Arlen, now a secret ally, contacted them through an encrypted signal. There may be one way to save her, he said. A machine hidden on an old colony. It was part of the original project. It might reset her core, stabilize her powers. But if it fails, Reed didn't wait. We'll try. And so, they began their final journey. Not just to escape the ones who wanted her back, but to save her life, to give her a future. A life not built to kill, but born to love. The last goodbye. The stars outside the ship didn't shine like they used to. Reed Walker sat in the pilot's seat, staring into the endless dark. The small ship floated quietly through deep space. No sound, no war, just silence. Behind him, Elira lay in the medbed, her breath soft and shallow. Her silver skin, once glowing, was now dull. Her heartbeat was weak. The spark inside her was fading. Reed checked the map again. One more jump. One last chance to save her. They were heading to Echelon 7, an abandoned human-alien colony where the original project began, the place where Elira was first activated. According to Dr. Arlen, Hidden deep underground was something called the reset core. It wasn't designed to cure her. It was designed to wipe her. Erase the weapon systems. Reprogram the AI in her cells. In short, it would let her live. But she'd lose her memories, her feelings, her humanity. She'd forget him. When Illyra woke, she already knew. "You're taking me to the reset core," she said quietly. Reed nodded slowly. "It's the only way to save you." She looked out the window. "But it won't be me, will it? Not the me that laughs when you tell bad jokes. Not the me who cries when she sees children playing. Not the me who fell in love." Reed couldn't look at her. "I don't care what part of you I lose," he said, "as long as I still have you." She reached for his hand, her fingers trembling. "I don't want to forget you." They landed on Echelon 7 the next day. It was a ghost world. Dust covered the old buildings. The air was thin and dry. Machines stood broken, half covered by sand and time. Deep beneath the surface, the reset core still hummed, alive after all these years. They found it in the center of a white chamber, like a giant silver flower with glowing petals. In the middle, a pod waited, just big enough for one. Illyra stepped closer. The machine responded to her presence, lights flickering, systems powering up. "It recognizes me," she whispered. "It was built for you," Reed said softly. She looked at him. "So this is it." Reed nodded. "Once you enter the pod, it starts. You won't feel pain. You'll sleep. When you wake up, you'll be new. But not me." Reed couldn't answer that. Illyra sat down beside the machine. "Do you know what I dreamed of all those years I was locked in ice?" she asked. Reed shook his head. "I dreamed of flying, of tasting food, of hearing music, of holding someone's hand and not killing them." She looked at him. "You gave me all that in just a few weeks." Reed smiled sadly. "Then let me give you a few more years." "But not if I forget," she said. "If I forget you, then it's not really me living." Tears filled Reed's eyes. "But if you don't do this, you'll die." "I know," she said. They sat in silence for a long time. Then Illyra stood and stepped toward the pod. She placed her hand on the metal surface. It opened like a flower, soft and glowing. The inside was warm, peaceful. She turned to Reed. "I want to remember." He stepped forward. "Then don't go in." "But I want to live," she whispered. "Then go in." Their voices cracked with pain. There was no right choice. Only love. Only loss. Suddenly, the floor shook. A blast echoed through the walls. Reed grabbed his weapon. "They found us." Illyra turned. "Earth command." "No," he said, looking at the scanner. "Something worse." A red signal blinked on the screen. "Unregistered ship. Massive energy. Not human. Not known." Illyra's face went pale. "The final protocol." Reed frowned. "What's that?" "When a weapon like me escapes control, the architects send the final protocol. It's not a ship. It's a cleaner." "Cleaner?" "A living machine, built to destroy anything that cannot be controlled." She looked at Reed. "If it reaches this room, it won't just destroy me. It will destroy this core, this planet." Reed raised his gun. "Then we stop it." But the cleaner was already here. It burst through the ceiling like a black storm. A giant, shadowy creature made of moving metal and light. No face, no voice, just raw purpose. Illyra stepped forward, glowing again, even in her weakness. Reed aimed and fired, but the bullets bounced off. "Go," he shouted. "Get in the pod." "No," she said. "Not like this. Illyra, I don't want to forget you," she said, turning toward the beast. Then, without warning, she ran forward. Her body exploded in light, slamming into the cleaner. The room shook. Metal twisted. Fire rose. Reed screamed her name. When the dust cleared, the cleaner was gone. destroyed. The reset core was still alive, but Elira was lying on the floor. Still. Reed ran to her. No, 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 please. Her body was cold again, but peaceful. No pain, no glow, just silence. Reed held her close, tears falling down his face. I was too late. Then, her fingers twitched. He gasped. Elira. She opened her eyes slowly. Still. Here. He laughed, crying. You destroyed it. You did it. She smiled weakly. But now, I really am dying. No, Reed said. You still have time. The core. She stopped him with her hand. I don't want to forget. I'd rather die with my heart full than live with it empty. Reed sobbed. Please, I can't lose you. She leaned up and kissed his forehead. You gave me a life in the days I had left. That's more than anyone else ever did. She touched his chest. And I'll always live here. Then, with a smile on her face, she closed her eyes and didn't open them again. Reed sat there for hours, holding her, remembering every second, every smile, every word. He didn't bury her. He placed her inside the reset core, but didn't turn it on. He let her sleep. Forever. Years later, on a small planet filled with green hills and bright skies, a little girl played outside with her friends. She had silver hair and curious eyes. She was adopted. She didn't know where she came from. But sometimes she dreamed of stars, and a man's warm voice calling her name. Elira. And far above the sky, a single star pulsed gently, as if remembering her too. She touched the stars. They said she was gone, that the girl made from war and light had burned out like a dying star. But stars don't really die. They become something else. 10 years later, the galaxy had changed. The war between humans and the architects was over. After Elira's sacrifice, peace had spread like the dawn. Her final act, destroying the cleaner and saving the reset core, was remembered in secret files, hidden from the public. Governments said nothing. High command stayed silent. But among soldiers, whispers spread. She was real. She stopped the unstoppable. She loved him. And among those who truly believed, there was one name passed like a quiet prayer. Elira. Reed Walker had vanished too. Some said he disappeared into deep space. Others claimed he became a rogue defender, protecting lost colonies from pirates and monsters. A few believed he built a quiet home on some forgotten moon, where no one could find him. But those who knew him best said only this. He never stopped looking up. On a green and quiet planet called Tholos, a little girl with silver hair ran across a hill. Her name was also Elira. She wasn't a weapon. She was just a child. But sometimes, in her dreams, she saw flashes. A silver room, a man's warm smile, a feeling in her chest, strong, bright, and full of something she didn't yet understand. Sometimes, when she looked up at the stars, she felt tears in her eyes, without knowing why. One day, the girl found an old man sitting by a tree. His beard was gray. His body was tired. But his eyes were the same, sharp, kind, always watching. He was drawing in a book. The girl peeked over his shoulder. What are you drawing? The old man smiled. A star. Why? Because I loved someone who became one. The girl tilted her head. Did she die? The man closed the book. No, he said. She lives in every light I see. The girl sat beside him. What was her name? He smiled. Elira. The man had never told anyone the full story. But that day, he opened his journal, and he spoke, not like a soldier, but like someone who had held the universe in his hands and let it go. She wasn't born. She was made. They gave her power, but not love. Purpose, but not choice. And yet, she found both. In the smallest things. A stolen laugh, A quiet walk, the feeling of wind, the hand held tight. He looked up at the sky. And me. She found me. The girl with silver hair listened without blinking. Was she scary? The man smiled. Only to those who tried to control her. What happened to her? The man looked away. She chose love over life. But in doing that, she made life better for everyone else. The girl was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, "Do you miss her?" He nodded. Every single day. Later that night, the little girl climbed to the tallest hill. The stars were bright, like diamonds in the dark. She stood with her arms wide, as if trying to hug the sky. And softly, without knowing why, she whispered, "Thank you." A light blinked in the sky, a single star, brighter than all the others, and though no one could hear it, in that moment, a soft voice echoed across space, touching every heart that had once known her. "I am not gone. I am just changed." The Illy JC. Years later, that little girl, Elira, grew up. She became a scientist, then a leader, and then a symbol of peace. She never knew why the stars called to her, or why silver light sometimes shimmered across her skin when she touched machines. But she used her life to build, not destroy. To unite, not divide. To love, just like the one who came before her. Across the galaxy, Reed's story became a legend. Soldiers told it at campfires. Children acted it out in school plays. Some still doubted, saying it was just a myth. But in hidden corners of the universe, people carved a message into stone. Everyone who touched her died, until he dared to love her. And beneath that, one final line. And because he did, we live. On a quiet moon covered in flowers, there's a grave with no name, just a silver crystal lying on a stone. Sometimes, when the wind blows right, it glows softly. People say if you stand near it, close your eyes and listen, you'll hear a voice. Gentle, brave, a voice that says, "Love was not part of my design, but it was my choice, and that choice changed the stars." The end.